In this op-ed, Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School sophomore Sari Kaufman lists her demands for gun reform after surviving the February 14 shooting that killed 17 people at her school. My name is Sari Kaufman and I attend Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. I am a sophomore and a survivor of the Valentine's Day massacre at my school. I am writing this to honor my friends who are not here with us today, to share their stories, and to ask politicians for change. The morning of the attack was a typical warm and sunny Florida day and I was excited to receive carnations for Valentine's Day. Sadly, the day was tainted with the sound of an unexpected fire drill. My memory from this day is a blur. What I do remember is leaving my classroom at 2:22 p.m. and suddenly hearing 5 distinct sounds that each went pop. I thought they might be gunshots, but my mind refused to accept the fact that our campus was under attack. I would later find out that, indeed, there had been many shots fired, and the lives of 17 beautiful humans were lost. As soon as my friends and I realized the seriousness of the situation, we began running for our lives. I remember feeling relieved when a police officer appeared on the opposite side of the fence and reassured us that he was there to protect us. I had to go to more funerals in 1 week than many adults have gone to in a lifetime. I have watched parents bury their 14-year-old sons and daughters. My city and school are changed forever. Even today, some of my closest friends will forever be scarred physically, mentally, and emotionally. Following the attack, I was conflicted. I wanted to speak out, but I also wanted to better understand the gun laws. As a member of the Stoneman Douglas debate team, I researched universal background checks for all gun sales and transfers of ownership for the November public forum debate topic. I remember finding many flaws in our system, including a lack of funding for the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, NICS. For example, the NICS Improvement Amendment Act was introduced in the wake of the 2007 Virginia Tech massacre. This legislation gave more than $1 billion in grants to states and territories to improve record-keeping systems and reporting to NICS. Legislators tried to stop mass shooting homicides. However, since its enactment, Congress has distributed only 11.5% of the funding. In fact, according to The Trace, former Representative James Moran, Democrat Virginia, said that the NRA worked with allies in Congress to cut off funding for these grants. The Trace reported that the NRA did not respond to a request for comment on Moran's charges. The Trace also reported it contacted the House and Senate Appropriations Committees and the White House Office of Management and Budget for comment on the gap between money authorized to modernize and complete the background check system and what was actually dispensed and said that none replied. Proposed gun control bills almost never pass Congress, likely due to risk of backlash, but, when a bill becomes a law, sometimes congressional committees won't fund those laws, due to influential organizations like the NRA. Therefore, I want to make a change to ensure that this event will not happen again. Politicians, I hope that the next time that you receive money from influential organizations, you will not be persuaded to use poor judgment, resulting in more kids having their blood spilled on classroom floors. Remember that your communities and families could be next. Please do not wait to act on improving gun policies that ensure safety for America, because our lives are not disposable. The massacre at my school needs to be the last school shooting. There is so much we have to do to make our communities safe. For example, after a 1998 shooting in Connecticut, lawmakers enacted an Extreme Risk Protection Order (ERPO) law. In Connecticut, the legislation refers to a risk warrant, which gives law enforcement the clear legal authority to temporarily remove firearms from individuals when there is imminent risk of significant harm to self or others. There were several warning signs in the behavior of the Parkland shooter, and so an extreme risk order most likely could have stopped him. Instead of just Connecticut and 4 other states, let's implement state and federal laws that enact similar ERPO components like the one in Connecticut. I want to be optimistic about these political changes, but the sad fact is, there have already been 71 people killed or injured in school shootings this year. The terror that students across this nation have experienced has resulted in a loss of trust in our system. How is this generation going to have faith in our system if time and time again it fails to protect our lives? Every day in school we learn how great the United States is, yet we have classmates dying in the very places they are supposed to be learning. This horrible tragedy should have been prevented by the adults who have been voted into power. I want to make our schools safer by improving gun policies. We need to unite across political parties. I believe that we should ensure the full funding of the NUX system, and pass a federal loophole law to keep my friends and future generations safe at school and everywhere else. This story is a part of Teen Vogue's ongoing coverage on gun violence and the growing movement for gun control. Be sure to check out our cover feature written by Emma Gonzalez.